In the previous video, I went through and reviewed the first 7 years of XXL's annual freshman classes. Today we're gonna finish the list, then at the end of the video, I'll rank each group from worst to best. Reminder that my criteria is a mix of the rapper's commercial and critical success, their icon status, and whether or not I like their music. Every artist will go on this fun little chart, and then as a whole, that respective year will get a rating 1 through 10. Starting it off with 2015, this feels more dated than many of the classes that came before it. Kid was featured on Lil Wayne's Mrs. Officer back in 2008, and that's about it. I haven't thought about Tink in forever, and OG Mako had a time capsule of a one-hit wonder with, you guessed it. Dej Loaf had potential but kinda fell off the map. Rory is one of those genre-bending musicians that doesn't exactly fit in a group of rappers, and I think he's pretty boring anyway, and I think K-Camp's biggest accomplishment is being nominated for the 2021 iHeartRadio Music Award TikTok Bop of the Year. Shy Glizzy is decent, but nothing special in my opinion. Fetty Wap's time in the spotlight was short-lived, but he was massive in 2015, and he definitely deserves his spot here. Goldlink's funny because he's pretty forgettable to me, but that's comparing him to actual big names, so he towers over the truly forgettable people on a lot of these lists. The only real standout from 2015 is Vince Staples, who is good and relatively popular. I like his stuff, don't get me wrong, but still, he's no Kendrick or J. Cole, Kid Cudi, etc. 2015's lows aren't horrible, but it's a boring way to kick off this video. Strong 4. In the last video, there were plenty of comments already declaring that 2016 is the best of the best. While I'm not a fan, Lil Dicky does have hits upon hits, and then with guys like G Herbo and Dave East, I think they're about average but worthy of their inclusions, so this is easily the highest floor that we've had so far. Designer's another one that was massive for a short amount of time. Lil Yachty really fell off, but Lil Boat is honestly one of my favorite mixtapes ever, and when someone as popular as Kodak Black isn't in the top tier of a XXL freshman class, you know they're doing something right. 21 Savage is one of the leaders of modern day gangster rap, Lil Uzi Vert is one of the more iconic figures of this day and age, Anderson .Paak is probably a top 5 most talented person on any of these things, and I love Denzel Curry's discography. One of the most consistent dudes in the game for almost a decade now. Again, super high floor, multiple guys close to the top. I think I'm gonna give 2016 a very strong 6 to a light 7. 2017, however, pretty bad in comparison. It seems like a joke that Ugly God was ever really a thing. Kyle is sort of entertaining but very corny, and then Cap G and Kamaya came and went pretty quickly. Above them, we've got a ton of below average, somewhat relevant rappers that don't stand out for me, with Made in Tokyo, PNB Rock, and A Boogie with the Hoodie. There are a few Amine songs that I like a lot. XXXTentacion was a controversial figure, but there's no doubting how popular he was with his supporters. X was only famous for a couple of years, and he literally has the most streamed rap album of all time on Spotify. And finally, Playboi Carti is one of the more influential musicians of the last decade or so, with commercial and critical success to back that up. Ultimately, we've got a couple of stars, but the rest I don't really care about. Very light 4 out of 10. While the tagline of "We got clout" makes me want to throw up, 2018 is definitely solid. Maybe she's been popular in the UK, but I really haven't heard about Stefflon Don since this list came out. Blockboy JB popped off for a minute when Drake hopped on Look Alive, and not that I think that the rappers I'm gonna talk about in a second are better than Jid, but they all seem to fit together, and he does not. YBN Namir, Wi-Fi's Funeral, Trippie Redd, Smoke Perp, Lil Pump, and Ski Mask the Slump God are all pretty strong examples of what was on the rise during this time period. I'd say Namir is one of the ones that I preferred of the bunch, or at least until he dropped this monstrosity. Lil Pump's impact was obviously huge, and then I'd personally call Ski Mask the best of the bunch. This isn't the most fascinating group in the world, but most of them are decent. probably just above a 5. 2019 is a unique dark horse of a group that deserves a shout for being an all-time great, in my opinion. YK Osiris and Comethazine I don't really care for, but it only goes up from here. Blueface is kind of a meme, but this dude has hundreds and hundreds of millions of views on YouTube, and Lil Mosey is another Lyrical Lemonade regular. I think Cordae is a promising young talent. Roddy Ricch has already gone #1, and I love his soulful live performances. DaBaby has had his issues, but he was absolutely everywhere for a couple of years, and Rico Nasty is electrifying with her blend of hardcore pop rap. While personally I don't really get the hype, Gunna is becoming an out-and-out star. Tierra Whack is a true artist, and everybody needs to check out Whack World if you haven't already. And Megan Thee Stallion is a prime example of the XXL freshman to superstardom pipeline. Multiple Grammys under her belt, including Best New Artist, some of the biggest songs of the last few years. She is the real deal. Solid 6 out of 10 for 2019. Okay, so complete transparency here. I feel very, very confident in my rap knowledge from like the late 90s through the 2000s into the late 2010s. These next two XXL freshman classes make me feel like a dinosaur that has no idea what the kids are listening to these days. 2020 isn't terrible in that regard, but you'll see. I had to look up the following people and their music, which I ended up not really enjoying. Chica, Lil Keed, Cowboy, and Lotto. For people that I'm familiar with, Lil TJ, NLE Choppa, and Rod Wave, but it's like, really? Compare the middle ground of the last couple of groups to these guys, and I don't think these come close. 5EO Foreign is cool, but I'm only really interested in his collabs and not his solo stuff. Polo G's definitely one of the better newcomers as of late, and 24K Golden has that big TikTok song. I prefer Jack Harlow's overall personality and presence more than his actual discography, but he is finding major mainstream success. And then I think Baby Keem is the true future of rap within this bunch. He just won a Grammy, his debut album was good, and I'm excited for his future. While again, I'm admitting that this isn't exactly my area of expertise anymore, and mind you, it's much harder predicting how their careers will go instead of reviewing how their careers have gone so far. How about a strong 4 to a light 5? Now we get to 2021. Am I really this out of touch, or is the list just that bad? Flo Milli's good. I've heard enough from 42 Doug, Moray, and Pooh Shiesty to mention them. I know Coil Ray has gotten memed a lot, and Ian Dior is again a TikTok song kinda guy. But yikes, man, who are all of these people? I almost don't even want to give this one a score because I don't know if I'm the problem or they're the problem. After getting first impressions of a lot of these names right now, how about a light 4? Which brings us to our final ranking. Over these 14 XXL freshman classes, let's go from worst to best in my humble, somewhat ignorant opinion. In last place, I can't get past the cringe and general lameness of 2012. Next up, the one that we just went over, the gigantic question mark of 2021. There's a certain awkward, boring, below-average space that many names of 2017 fall into, and then 2014 is similar, but a step above them thanks to their bigger musicians bringing the average up. The next three are pretty close together, and it's more of me being indifferent to them than actually disliking the groups. Let's go with the bizarre team of 2015, then the OG of 2007 with Lupe leading the charge, and while there's probably some recency bias here, 2020 is slightly more interesting to me in this moment. We're now traveling into a positive territory with 2009 being relatively likable, 2018 being extremely average across the board, and the highs and lows of 2011 with Kendrick being the real difference maker. I think the following two could go back and forth on any given day, but while I like listening to 2013's artists more, 2010 has a few guys that were relevant and influential for a long time. I'm totally open to criticism and discussion here because I kinda do think 2019 should be lower than the previous couple of groups, but it's just tough because many of these rappers still have their best years in front of them. I'm not necessarily saying that Tierra Whack, Roddy Ricch, Rico, Gunna, and Megan are better than Schoolboy Q, Absol, and Travis, or Wiz, J. Cole, and Freddie Gibbs, etc., but there has to be some some way to balance the potential of these people versus the accomplishments of the others. And while it's no big surprise, 2016 is indeed the best XXL freshman class. Virtually all of these people still have successful careers, many of them are still getting better and better, and that combo of Uzi, Denzel, and Anderson .Paak is pretty tough. Comment down below with your ranking, what you think of mine, and thanks for watching. Hey, thank you for watching that video. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.